The San Diego Padres are basically out here playing MLB The Show at this point, acquiring as many star position players as they can and figuring out the whole position part of that later. Headed into 2023 here, Manny Machado is about the only non-catcher position player that you can say has a definite defensive spot. In over 10,000 innings at third base since 2012, Machado's won a Platinum Glove and 2 Gold Gloves. But after that, the rest of this starts getting a little bit interesting here. We can go ahead and start with Ha-Sung Kim, who over the last 2 seasons has played over 1,300 innings at shortstop and is arguably the best defensive shortstop the Padres have, putting up 19 defensive runs saved and 8 outs above average. But he's, by all accounts, going to be playing second base this next year, and that's because the Padres went out and signed shortstop Xander Bogaerts. Bogaerts, in over 10,000 innings at shortstop since 2013, has been bad, to say the least, defensively, putting up -50 defensive runs saved and -34 outs above average. Since we now have third base, second base, and shortstop covered, this is going to end up bumping Jake Cronenworth, who's primarily put up really good defensive numbers at second base over the last 3 seasons. He's going to be playing first base now, where he has played over 300 innings and put up above average defensive runs saved and outs above average. That's our whole infield, so I guess we can kind of just move on and... What? No, there's not somebody that I'm forgetting to talk about. Oh yeah, this team's gonna have Fernando Tatis Jr. coming back from his injury, suspension-plagued season last year, and, well, he's probably not gonna be playing shortstop. In over 2,000 innings so far in his career at shortstop, Tatis has put up negative defensive runs saved and outs above average, so it's not like he's a defensive upgrade over Bogaerts there and you're gonna bump him out of that spot. Now, in 2021, Tatis played some right field due to a shoulder injury, because yeah, that makes sense. He can't make the throw from shortstop, so let's have him throw all the way from right field. But in over 150 innings there, Tatis put up 0 defensive runs saved and -1 outs above average, so it's not like he was necessarily killing you out there defensively. But now if Tatis comes in to play right field when he's back, that's gonna bump Soto, who's primarily been over there, over to left field, where he actually started out more in his career. From 2018 to 2020, in over 2,600 innings, Soto in left field put up -10 defensive runs saved and -1 outs above average. But in right field over the last 3 seasons, in about the same amount of innings, Soto's put up 1 defensive run saved and -7 outs above average. So with Tatis and Soto in your 2 corner outfield spots potentially, that means that Trent Grisham is gonna have to really carry the load here in center field defensively, and yeah, he can do that. In over 2,800 innings so far in center field, Grisham's put up 24 defensive runs saved and outs above average, and in this last season was in the 99th percentile in Baseball Savant's outs above average. So for this Padres team, we're gonna have a lot of moving parts and potentially some bad defense here in some spots, but we've actually seen this blueprint before. And in fact, we saw it last season in the World Series with the Philadelphia Phillies. So as I get into this, comment down below your thoughts on the Phillies strategy and whether it's a good one. And I know this is a video on the Padres, so I'm gonna keep this part about the Phillies really quick here. The Phillies were willing to sacrifice this defense with Schwarber and Castellanos last season because of what they ended up bringing offensively. And they could get away with this because they made that trade to get Brandon Marsh in center field to cover the 2 of them, and boy did he do that, ranking in the 93rd percentile in Baseball Savant's outs above average. And Philly was willing to make this sacrifice defensively because of mainly the power that both of these guys were bringing in the lineup here. Philly's offense last season ranked 6th in slugging percentage, home runs, exit velo, barrel percentage, and hard hit percentage, also ranking 4th in home runs per fly ball, leading them to the 8th best WOBA and the 10th best WRC plus in baseball. So the power was the main driving force behind their offense here. But power like this can be a catch-22 because it can tend to be a little bit streaky, and when it doesn't show up, we saw how Philly struggled early, but when it does show up in bursts, then we see the type of run that a team like this can go on. Now, the Padres offense last season was not built like this, ranking bottom 10 in home runs and slugging percentage because they tended to hit the ball softer than most teams and struggled to get barrels consistently. What they were really good at, though, was getting on base, 8th best in the league because of a 6th best walk percentage. Now, getting on base versus power is a more consistent way to generate runs, but you're not gonna score in the same kind of bursts that you do with extra base hits and home runs. When you combine the two of these, though, that's when a lineup can become really scary. And that's what we're potentially looking at here with the Padres. You add in Xander Bogaerts, whose power numbers were down last year, 15 home runs and a .456 slugging percentage, but from 2018 through 2021, Bogaerts had a 162 game average of 30 home runs, a .523 slugging percentage, and had pretty good advanced power numbers to go along with that. This lineup is also going to get Fernando Tatis back, who so far throughout his career has also had a 162 game average of 48 home runs, a .596 slugging, and even crazier advanced power stats. Adding in Bogaerts, getting Tatis back, and hopefully a bounce back season from Juan Soto, who was down a little bit last year, this should add a lot of power to this lineup that really needed it last year. Jake Cronenworth and Trent Grisham were second on this team in home runs in a Padres uniform behind Manny Machado with 17 each, slugging .390 and .341 respectively. Having Bogaerts, Tatis, and Soto in the middle of this lineup is going to be so much better than having to rely on Cronenworth and Grisham in there for this power. And when you add these guys into a lineup that already is getting on base a ton, now you have this potential with 4 or 5 guys of getting all these extra base hits and home runs that are just gonna get these guys around the bases very, very quickly. This could be a lineup that almost any inning can put up multiple runs like that. Now, as these guys move away from these premier defensive positions, though, you're gonna have to rely on their offense even more. It's why having the same offensive numbers from a shortstop is more impressive than a first baseman doing that. So what these guys do offensively is going to matter that much more. So comment down below and let me know what you think about this strategy and how much better this really makes the Padres headed into next season. If you've enjoyed this video, you should check out this one right here on the Yankees 2022 collapse and what you can expect from them in 2023. Or check out the video that YouTube recommends for you. Make sure you also click right here to subscribe to the page so you don't miss out on any other baseball content like this. And as always, thank you for watching. I hope you have an awesome day, and I'll see you in the next one.